Thanks so much for being with us on the Texas Wealth Report. I'm Brad Johansson with Summer Roberts of Impact Partners Financial. So nice to be back with you.
It's so good to be here.
Give me your top highlight of summer.
Oh, gosh.
Are there too many to list?
Well, you know, the kids go back to school, so that's...
That's now the highlight of summer because it's exhausting.
It's exhausting. It's hot.
And it's hot.
It's hot. But yeah, hurricane season is upon us.
It's just constant,
Yeah.
isn't it? And there's always something next.
Always.
So the kids are back in school, and we're trying to figure out where we're going. We're in the midst of, about as much uncertainty as we could possibly have.
Yes.
Legislatively, market volatility, and we move into exactly what the government does to us, and that is make us guess again. I'm going to take you all the way back to 1978. We're going to look at the greatest trick ever played with the Revenue Act. That's when and you have so many folks that are coming into the office who are still dealing with pensions. But pensions moved at that time into 401ks. Tell me about that time and what the shift was as we moved from this is on the employer to this thing is on you to try and figure out how to retire.
Right. That's the greatest trick ever played, because ultimately, pre-1978, most people had a soft landing into retirement,
Sure.
right? They went into retirement. They had a big retirement party. Maybe they got a gold watch, whatever. And they were also handed a promise of a check in retirement coming to them every 2 weeks.
Heck yeah, I sign up for that.
Right, who wouldn't? I'll take it all day. But then the Revenue Act of 1978 happened, where these companies, they lobbied Congress and got their way. They said, look, the burden is too big on us.
Yeah.
We need to place the burden somewhere else. So that's where ultimately the responsibility shifted from the company to the individual. And now these people, that's when the qualified account was born, right? The IRA, 401k, 403b, 457, all of the qualified accounts. So now, instead of the company being responsible, now the responsibility is on you. And people were just thrust into this position to where now they have to be the CFO of their retirement, right? They have to know how to be an investment advisor. They have to know what to do. And it really changed the landscape of retirement.
It changed how everyone started to view it or not view it, because they said, you know what, this is on me, but I'm not quite sure what I'm doing in putting that money in. Right. We talked a little bit about the workshops that you do, and you're out in the community all the time. When you're dealing with people at these workshops and you say, how many of you still are dealing with pensions? Yeah. What's the number of hands that go up?
I would say probably when I ask that, about half the room still does.
A lot of pensions still there.
Still there because of the area we are, right? We've got a lot of oil and gas. We've got a lot of industry. And a lot of those companies, fortunately, still offer them. But there are a lot of companies that stopped, got out of the pension game. And now, I had someone at a workshop I was doing, and I was talking about this, and one lady said, well, we don't know what else to do. What's our other option? Because you go to work, and here's your option. That's it.
This is what we hand you.
Yeah. So.
And what's the answer to that? What are my other options?
Well, I mean, there's a world of options. It may not be directly associated with your company per se, but there are a lot of options. I mean, there's outside IRAs. The issue, there are several issues with the 401k, but when you're thinking about options, the biggest problem that I see when I look at 401k plans is they have what I call a limited menu.
Yeah.
Right? You're stuck with whatever financial company came and got into your company, and you've got those choices. They're very limited. Whereas an outside account opening, you have the world of options. You can do so many things with that. But you know, when the 401k was born, it was sold very well. It had a great marketing pitch.
Seemed like it was going to be fantastic
Yes.
for everybody, right?
Absolutely.
So what changed about the glorified 401k and what we didn't know when we talk about the greatest trick ever played?
Well, the issue is, number one, the limited options.
Yeah.
The other issue is now we're playing, well, let me ask you this, Brad.
Okay.
You have grandkids?
I do. I just
Okay.
visited my grandkids.
Okay. Well, if you were to convince your grandchild to get off the electronics long enough,
That's a toughie for one of them.
right? Get off the electronics, you finally convince them to play a board game with you,
Okay.
right? Good old board game. And you sit down to play, and your grandchild says, "All right, this is great, Grandpa. How do we play?" And you say, "Don't worry about that. I'll tell you the rules at the end."
You know what? This is very interesting that you said this, because we got off the electronics. You know what he pulled out? Chutes and Ladders. Chutes and Ladders goes all the way back to, I think, the 1940s, 1950s, during that time. And I knew how to play.
Yeah.
But he had already said, "No, Grandpa, I can go up this ladder anytime I want," kind of thing. So he kind of switched that on me. As you said, I was supposed to be the one that was going, I'm going to play the rules. But that's what it is the government says we're going to change the rules on you anytime we want.
Exactly. So now we're playing a game with our entire retirement plan, because most people, that is their retirement plan. That's it. And so now we're playing a game that we don't know the rules to, and the government can come in at any point in time and change the rules. And it's a very, very tricky game. And so, you know, I'm a big believer in let's try to get the government as much as we can out of our retirement plans. You know, it's you've saved the money, you have done all the work for it. So let's get back to the basics.
You have something that I know you want people to come into the office for. Give me an idea of what you're offering, as people may give a call and come in right now.
Yeah. So we call it our Texas Wealth Report.
Yeah.
Right? So it's all encompassing though. It provides a tax analysis, an investment review, an income review, all of that bundled inside this report, because ultimately at the end of the day, we have to remember that retirement is not just about investments. Right? The 401k, the IRA, the retirement plan, that's a very vital part, but that is not the plan.
Yeah.
It's a part of a plan. So our Texas Wealth Report actually encompasses a lot of things pulled together. And when they come in, they'll get a copy of our book. So
This is the copy of that book. This is what you want to do. I mean, all of us want to retire with impact. So let's make it happen, because the rules change all the time, and the government is going to tell us what those are. You want to do things while you know the rules and how you can play with the rules that you have at this point. And you can't do that without a review of everything that you've got. So 866-254-8026. Call to set up your meeting so you can come in for a complimentary review and receive the Texas Wealth Report that encompasses everything that you have to figure to make it a retirement of your dreams. 866-254-8026. We'll be right back after this.
How did I become a financial advisor? Basically, when I was a teenager, my grandfather passed away, and my grandmother, what we found out afterward was she was left with a mess. There were accounts, policies that we didn't know why they existed. It literally took my family years to get everything in order for her. She didn't know where her income was coming from. She didn't know if she had enough money, and her health took a toll. So I watched that, and I just realized at a pretty young age that I don't want people to have to go through what my grandmother went through. Seeing her go through that was very traumatic at a young age. And so I've always had that in the back of my mind. So as I got older, I had a career that was very good and successful. But when the opportunity came to learn this business from my dad, I hopped on it because I knew that doing this business and learning this business, that I could make a much more direct impact with families just like mine and help them and hopefully prevent a situation like my grandmother was in.
Welcome back to the Texas Wealth Report. Brad Johansson with Summer Roberts as we kind of talk about the greatest trick ever played as we move from pensions to 401ks and the impact that that has as the government continues to change the rules. I want to talk about taxes because I think there are a lot of advisors out there, Summer, that simply aren't talking about taxes, or maybe they're giving advice. Your head's shaking already. Maybe giving advice right now that could be more impactful, not just now, but down the road. What's so significant about where we sit with taxes? Because we say it all the time, it's not what you have, it's what you get to keep. And the government, unfortunately, is your partner for a long time in this.
Unfortunately. I mean, the less taxes you pay, the more money in your pocket, right? So when we're talking about the greatest trick ever played and this whole transition from pensions to 401ks, we mentioned earlier that there are rules that can change, and the government can change those at any given time. Well, one of the main things is going to be taxes, right? So right now, we are sitting at historically low tax rates. Right?
And if you ask people to raise their hand, how good do you feel about what marginal tax rate you're in right now? Nobody's raising their hand, and yet every anticipation is it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
This sunsets now at the end of 2025 unless the government does something. Correct.
Well, if the government does nothing, which could be very likely.
They like to do that.
Our current tax code will sunset. It will automatically go back to where it was before. And for the majority of people that I meet with and I work with, that means an automatic tax increase for a lot of people. So, you know, and we're also sitting in a time right now where the national debt is just out of control.
35 trillion plus.
Yes, and it's growing faster and faster by the minute, right? And so with our national debt so high and taxes at all-time historical lows, I mean, what do you really think Congress is going to do?
Right? And as we talk about the greatest trick ever played, because people now have those 401ks, I mean, we're looking at $35 trillion in debt. And probably more than 37, maybe 38 trillion now still in 401ks.
Right.
Where do you think the government's going to go for that tax money?
I know. I told somebody the other day, the IRS is looking at those qualified accounts like salivating. They cannot wait to get their hands on that tax money. But you know, I think it's important to note that while most brokers, most advisors out there are telling people, put into your 401k, contribute to this IRA, let's get the tax deduction now, right? That may not necessarily be the right plan. Sure, you get the tax deduction now, and none of us, like you said, none of us think we're paying too little in taxes right now. We all think we pay too much, but ultimately, if there's a high chance taxes are going up in our future, and you've had this tax-deferred money growing tax-deferred and compounding interest for years and years and years, yes, you get the tax deduction now while taxes are at the lowest rates, right? Yeah. Or you can start planning to have some tax-free money coming in the future too, or even potentially look at doing some conversions of that qualified money.
All right, let's talk about that because I don't think anybody out there would argue with the fact that, all right, I'm going to give you a choice. Would you like to pay your taxes on the seed, Or do you want to wait until it's all full corn and pay the taxes on the corn, which is what the government is hoping you're going to do by putting that money away in tax-deferred accounts and waiting for it a little bit later.
Sure.
When you talk about conversions at this point and strategies that you have with people that you have coming into the office, what's the most viable plan for people right now? And everyone is different in what they're coming into.
Yeah.
What could work right now when you're talking about Roth conversions at this point?
Well, that's a hard question to answer because like you said, everyone is different. There is no one size fits all for any family. And working with an independent firm is one of the benefits, I think, that our clients see with working with us, because we do custom tailored plans. There's, is doing nothing the best option, right? That could be an option. Do nothing at all. Keep growing your tax deferred plan and pay the tax later on the harvest, and we'll see how that goes. Or you can look at doing some Roth conversions, Roth contributions, something like that. Or you can sit down with a professional that does this for a living and knows what they're doing and set up a long-term strategic tax plan for retirement. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to say, oh, well, that sounds really good. Let me just go out tomorrow and start converting my 401k to a Roth. Please do not do that. You need to have a consultation. You need to sit down. It's not necessarily just because it sounds good does not mean it's right for everyone. But that's part of our Texas Wealth Report. We go through that process with people to see, is it beneficial to do a Roth conversion or some other strategic tax plan? Because there are other options too, right? Not just a Roth.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of strategies we use are very advanced strategies that have been around forever. And so the important thing is just make sure that it's right for you. That's where the Texas Wealth Report comes in play. Because just because I say something and it sounds good does not necessarily mean it's right for you. So we need to get that report done. We need to do the analysis to see, is it a good fit for you? And then if it is, great, we'll give you recommendations. We'll tell you what we think you should do as far as conversion strategy, whatever it is.
Because there is, Summer said it, there is no one size fits all for all of this. So what you need to do is come in and put the numbers together to make it seem logical, maybe have an understanding, maybe even create answers to questions you didn't know you had before you even came in. 866-254-8026 for a complimentary review, and we'll put together a Texas Wealth Report for you that makes sense just for you. But you have to make the call or click the QR code on your screen. It sends you to the landing page so that we can make the softest landing for you in retirement that you've ever hoped for. 866-254-8026. Be right back after this.
We see tons of people every day that think that they have a plan. When we get in and we dive in, there's a lot of missing components. Sometimes it's a good start, it's a good philosophy, but some of the old ways that people used to utilize are not the same things that are going to work these days. Financial planning has shifted and changed over the years, and we have to take that approach and be a little bit more progressive in how we plan for things. What's unique about our firm is we are basically a one-stop shop. We've got an accountant on staff, we've got strategic partnerships with attorneys, we've got a Medicare specialist that can help out. If they need Medicare advice, they just call our office. If they are concerned about long-term care, we can take care of that. We basically want to be everything for our clients so they don't have to worry about going somewhere else. It's a jigsaw puzzle, and you've got all these pieces and they have to fit together. That's one of our focuses, is the overall holistic planning, bringing all those pieces together to complete a full plan. Without that, you're at a lot of risk.
Also, when you come in for your Texas Wealth Report that we'll put together for you, you also get a copy of the book, Retire with Impact, that Summer has put together. Everything in here is something that you may need to know to retire in the way that you want to retire. Because, Summer, as we talked about it, when the rules changed in '78, this is the first generation that's gone through it in this way. And you're kind of forging the path, but it's a path that you don't know what you're getting into, which is why there's so much confusion for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, what we're experiencing now with our economy, with inflation, with all the things going on, is not incredibly different than what retirees faced in the 60s, right? They saw not one, not two, but three market corrections during that time frame. What a terrible time to be retired, but they had these pensions, right?
Yep.
So now we face some of the same challenges as they did back then. We're in a very similar situation, but now we have the pensions have nearly died out. They're archaic, and now we're relying on these qualified plans, these 401ks or 403bs, whatever it is. And I think it's really important for people to understand that you guys are the first generation ever to retire with this as your plan. A lot of people just assume that these plans have been around for forever, and that is not the case. I mean, it's a nearly 50-year-old plan, right?
Yep.
Basically, the plan was created when floppy disks came out. Remember that?
I remember floppy disks. There are a lot of people who don't have any idea what we're talking about, but I remember those.
Right. So, and we've known that this plan has been flawed for many, many years, yet we still continue to do it. And it's still what companies mostly offer. So it's really important that people understand that that's not their only choice, right? Yes, if you have a 401k with your company and you get a match or something of that sort, which that's the benefit of it, they match, then yes, sure, take the money, but ultimately there are other options as well. So we could, that's the tax deferred bucket we could be putting in, get the match from your company. But we could also set up a plan, a strategic plan, to where maybe we're putting some into the tax-free bucket as well.
This is a conversion that you're talking about.
Could be a conversion, could be a lot of different things. There are 4 or 5 various strategies that we use with our clients to get some of their money into that tax-free bucket. Ultimately, what we want to achieve is when you're retired and you're pulling money out, right? You're not putting in anymore. The game changes.
The game changes big time.
So if you have all of your income coming in between Social Security and your retirement plan, that is a tax bomb waiting to just explode. So what we strive to do is when you're withdrawing that money, when you're taking income in retirement, we want to diversify the buckets that it's coming out of to lessen the overall tax burden. So that way, in our future, when taxes are potentially much, much higher, you're not retired and getting slaughtered with taxes.
This is what we're talking about with an independent fiduciary advisor, and a lot of you may have been working with somebody, because it's very common that people walk into the office and they say, well, I've been working with somebody for a lot of years. So why are you here? Well, I thought it might be time for a second opinion because I'm not sure that they're working for me. And some of the things that you said on this show, they never talked about. like what we're dealing with taxes and maybe some conversions. And then beyond that, with RMDs down the road, what are you talking about with that? Required minimum distributions that have to come out because the rules changed again and got pushed back again, and that has more tax implications. All of these are strategies that, because you're an independent advisor, you have all of these things in your tool belt. As you said, we have 4 or 5 strategies that we can work with on things like that, and multitudes beyond that.
Yep.
The difference is that you're able to talk about everything that a lot of advisors haven't even been talking about.
Well, and I think, Brad, that's the benefit of being independent and being a fiduciary. You know, we don't work for one company. We're not held to working for one company. We work with many companies. Like you said, we have the tool bag is full, so we focus on the strategy first. What are your concerns? What are your needs? What are your fears? What are your goals? Let's figure that out first. And then we look at your current plan. We look at what are the red flags? What are the issues? Are we potentially looking at a tax bomb in the future? Have we dealt with long-term care? Have we talked about Medicare? Have we looked at all the parts of a holistic retirement plan? And then ultimately that's when we go to our tool bag and we figure out, okay, well, we need this strategy and this strategy. Here are the tools that are needed to achieve this. Too many financial advisors or brokers out there are so quick to just go straight to the tool bag, right? I'm gonna get this tool and I'm gonna make this fit. Our philosophy is you have to solve the problem first. You have to set up the strategy, and you go to the tool bag last, right? They're just tools. It's irrelevant if it doesn't do what we need it to do.
Got to be very specific.
Right.
And that's what happens in the Texas Wealth Report that you can get by calling 866-254-8026. Come in for a complimentary review. We'll put together a Texas Wealth Report that is specifically designed for you. And with that, a copy of the book, To Retire with Impact, because that's what we all want to do, is retire with impact, create the dreams that we'd always thought we could have. And retirement lasts longer, now 10, 20, 30 years. Do you have the money that will take you through retirement to your last breath? That's what we want to do for you. Call the number right now, 866-254-8026. As always, we're so grateful that you spend your time watching us on the Texas Wealth Report. Now we want to see you in the office and make it work for you. Thanks for being here.